Hi there guys, and welcome to another FPV guide video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new DJI MAVIC. I'm not entirely sure how it's supposed to be pronounced, but that's not so important. What really matters is it's super teeny small. Like, this is my DJI Inspire, and just in case you're wondering, I love this animal. It's an awesome aerial video platform, but it is without a doubt also kind of a professional device. And when you start it up, babies, children and little dogs run away because it sounds big and scary. Also, you saw how big that is. It's not exactly backpack friendly. So that brings us to the next thing in drones. The last couple of months, two of the big drones has been the Dobie and the Unique Breeze. I gotta tell you, I love the Breeze, and I took it with me on vacation just a couple of weeks ago. It's really easy to fly, easy to work with, and super small. I put these little prop protectors on, but they still have only so-so video. And the range of these Wi-Fi devices are not particularly far because it doesn't go further than your phone's Wi-Fi. That brings us to the box. The box with the Mavic, of course. Let's check it out. And I want to, before we get into this, I really quickly want to run down. There is 3 versions available of the kit. The Wi-Fi fly by phone version is about $750. Then there is the standard version with the aircraft and the controller for about $1,000. And then they have the Fly More bundle, which comes with 3 batteries, a carry case, etc. And that's about $1,300. So inside here is the full bundle. Here is the extra kit, the chargers, the carry case, and the aircraft. Really quickly, let's take a look at the case. There you have it, guys. That is the complete carry case. Little thing up here. What is here? Inside here there's a sleeve for the aircraft and for your charger and extra batteries and the controller. Room for stuff in front, room on the top. Frankly, I've already flown this thing and I'm just gonna be putting it loose weight on top of my backpack. But this is really cool and it gets you a kit for everything. And I would say there's room for a water bottle here. Well, here's the rest of the Fly More combo. This box here has your multi-charger, 2 batteries, extra props, car charger, all the cool stuff. I love that they have a car charger because I usually fly from my car. And here's a cool little device. This turns your battery into a USB plug. See if I can get that opened up somehow. How is this open? Where there's a will, we can claw our way through it. So this little thing here, that just plugs onto your battery. And on the front you have 2 USB plugs. The intention really is you can charge your handheld controller with this little USB thingy. But you can also charge your phone. Very convenient. Also in the kit, battery charger 3-up. Check this out. DJI's packaging is really starting to look a lot like an Apple product. Look at this stuff. I'm sure it's not a coincidence that their launch partner is the Apple Store. Still easier to get Apple stuff out of the boxes than DJI stuff. Here's how this works. The main charger cable connects on the bottom and you can dock 4 different batteries on top right here. So when you're on the road, you can just plug this in and now you're charging 4 batteries, with each battery being roughly 20 to 25 minutes. That's an hour and a half of flight time. That should go you quite well. The last thing I'm gonna show you from the Fly More box is the battery. The Fly More box comes with a total of 3 batteries, which 25 minutes each is about 75 minutes of flight time. Guys, that's a lot of flight time. Good grief, it's not coming out. All right, we're gonna need some more serious measures here. See, there's more than one way to skin a cat, they say. There you go, and here is the fancy little box. Crack that open. Inside we find the manual, we find cover, and here is the battery. Let's take a quick look. There you go, guys. This is the 3S 3800 milliamp battery. If you look up here, you can see there's actually 10 connector plugs right here. I'm guessing with 10 connector plugs, they're probably also keeping track of battery temperature and other details to make sure you have a safe flight. And that leaves us with the main box. Now, this is a really cool little box, and what's inside here is basically the $1,000 kit. That's the aircraft, the controller, charger, and one battery, and some USB cables. So that is the kit with all the features. Then the Fly More kit has additional batteries and the storage case and the multi-battery charger. There we go. Looking inside, we have the aircraft over here and we have the controller here. The battery is already in the aircraft, and below the aircraft we see some pouches down here. And let's pull the controller out. Below the controller here, you see this foam. There's a really nice little foam layer. Then there's your manuals, information, and at the bottom here is the charger. Over here in the next little box, we find this thing we can pull out, and it comes with a power cable. It also comes with a USB charging cable. Guys, you want to hold on to this thing. It's different. You're only going to be able to charge the controller with this plug. I think I'm going to have to buy a couple of spares. In the kit there's also a couple of these things. This is mini USB cords to go from the controller to your phone. It also comes with a lightning cable that is already pre-installed on the controller. Guys, this thing is incredibly small. And when I say incredibly small, I mean super incredibly small. Look at this. Here's my hand next to it. I mean, guys, this is small. If you can't find room for this in your backpack, it's about the size of a Naclean water bottle. So if you hike a lot, you know exactly how big this is. Now, in the case here, below the aircraft, down here we have some spare propellers. It has 2 pouches of spare propellers down here. And we also got extra propellers in the Fly More kit. But I do like that even the standard kit comes with extra propellers, so that in case you nick a propeller the first day, you got more to go. But you are gonna need one of the pouches to get this thing going, because they installed the bottom propeller, the tail propellers. They did not install the front propellers. Here is the spare propellers. And let me try to not shake them around so you can actually see. Here's a right hand and a left hand propeller. And if I pull these out, then you can see them right here. And on the back side, they have a snap lock connector. You can see there's a black one and a white ring one. So if I take the white ring one, of course the white ring one then fits on the motor with the white lines. So I'm gonna just literally take the white ring one, put it over the motor shaft, and turn the motor till it pops down, and turn a little bit more, and it is locked in place. That easy. So let's repeat that with the black motor and the black propeller marking. Just put my finger over here so the motor doesn't turn around, put it over, so you take the little hole here and put on the shaft, push it down, and twist a little bit more till it locks in place, and the propeller is installed. Guys, if you've ever messed with installing propellers with screws, you won't believe how easy Snap-on is. Now, before we go on, there's a whole bunch of little stickers that we don't need. He says to unfold these ones first, to unfold these ones second. If you can't figure out which one holds the other one down, you probably shouldn't be flying this. Unfolding, unfolding, and then comes the rear ones out. Swap and swap. And just like that, here is our aircraft. Up on top here is an information label for the battery. So to turn on the aircraft, basically what you do is you tap down and then tap again and hold. There you go, now the battery is turned on. Now to turn the aircraft back off, you push down, then push down and hold again. So down and then down and hold, and waiting. And the lights are gone and it's turned off. By the way, do remember to turn off your video recording before you turn off the battery so that you remember to save your file if you're recording video. Up here on the side, you see a switch right here. Clicking on that, you can pull this out. That's how small this battery is again. You can see all the pins that connects to it. And down here on the bottom, you have the the SSID of the Wi-Fi hotpoint and also a password for the Wi-Fi. So if you're flying this only with a phone, and you can actually, under this little door down here, you can switch and turn on Wi-Fi only or fly with the controller. There's a physical switch for that down here, so it does not normally have the Wi-Fi turned on, which is very clever because it does then not interfere with your regular control link. The front of the drone comes with a scratch protector for the clear dome. Super easy to remove. So to get to it, we just pull the corner and pull it off. And here we can see the beautiful camera inside. It actually looks really good under this crystal dome, doesn't it? I've seen a lot of people fly with this with or without. And the one thing I do notice, when you fly with the crystal dome on, you're gonna get internal reflections. So if you wanna do that for real, you probably wanna take a black Sharpie and color some of this chromy metal very black so that it doesn't reflect so much in the dome. The only time I can think I would want to fly with this crystal dome would be when chasing surfers, scooting over the surf on the ocean, flying in the rain, or maybe flying in really sandy, dusty environment where you wanna protect the camera. I would probably buy a couple of spares of these and keep them in a protective bag so they don't get all scratched. But most of the time, I'm going to be flying without this dome. So this is how we're gonna be flying. I'm just gonna release the little finger latch and take that off here. And there is the camera itself. You've gotta love how beautiful this dome is. DJI has come enormously far away from the first Phantom. That was kind of cheesy plastic, just kind of working. It was cool, but the plastic needed a lot of help. Now we are looking at absolute top level plastic molding here. This is not crappy by any means. The fit and finish of this is simply amazing. Behind the camera here, before we are ready to fly, you can see behind the camera is a little plastic thing that keeps it in place and keeps it from wiggling around. So I'm just gonna pull that out. It's not that easy to get out. And now, notice how there's kind of like a little ridge in the back here, and this plastic thing has a ridge, so when you push it down, it holds the camera in place. To be perfectly honest, I'm probably just gonna wrap a little bit of bubble wrap around it when I travel, because this is a pain in the ass to get in place. However, once you get used to it, it's not that bad. 2-camera face-off. Just to give you an idea how small this is. This is a 3-axis gimbal with a 4K camera. And this thing is a 3-axis gimbal with a 4K camera. This one is about the size of what you find on the P4, and this one here is just enormously smaller. I can't even start to tell you how small this is. This gimbal here, which is pretty much the industry standard at the moment, takes up all the space in this aircraft. And they have managed to make this gimbal so incredibly small. Let's take a quick look at this gimbal, turn it over and see how much you can see. Interestingly, you can see the dampening. It's mounted with rubber dampers. Then it has a pitch movement right here, tilting it up and down. And then it has yaw movement right here in the back. Now, interestingly here, look at the camera. It actually rolls in the camera itself. So you can, I don't know if you can see that. Here you go. There you can see how the camera rolls. So they really managed to miniaturize the 3-axis gimbal. That in itself is frankly a miracle. We're being told this is the same sensor as what is in the Phantom P4. What I do see from a lot of people that I've seen flying these and posting some video, I gotta tell you, it looks softer. Or maybe not softer, maybe more like the details has been compressed more. So I have a feeling this camera, for some reason, applies a bit more compression to the file. That would only really matter to people shooting production for movies or television or commercials or something like that. If you're shooting real estate, you'll never know the difference. And frankly, if you're going on vacation trips, you'll never care. What you are gonna care about is the fact that this thing fits on top of your backpack with room for other stuff in the same pocket. And I mentioned before the Wi-Fi option. That's this little port here. And you gotta pull it out. It's kind of hard to open the first time. You gotta pull it all the way down and then you can flip it out. And inside here is where you see the micro SD card. You just basically use your fingernail and you can pop the micro SD card out. Use your fingernail to push it all the way back in. Up here above that, see that little switch there? If you slide that over, you get Wi-Fi control and it turns off the regular control link. Now I'm gonna slide it back because I obviously also have the controller here. So this comes all the way down and then push it in. Now while we are looking at the underside here, you'll notice there's two cameras looking down, so they actually built in redundancy in the down looking cameras to make sure you got great drift control. These two thingies right here is the down facing ultrasound to get the height that the aircraft is flying at. Now look at this here. This is actually an aluminum piece and you can see all these ribs to keep it cool. There's a ton of processing power in this thing, and when you turn it on, very quickly you hear a fan turn on. So this thing actually is cooling itself. There's a lot more processing going on in today's aircraft than there was even a year ago. And interestingly, they had the two down-facing cameras. DJI says it's for redundancy, and that's brilliant, but I think it's also doing something else, because this thing, when you fly indoors, is locked in place, like amazingly locked in. I think the two cameras facing down gives it two reference points on the floor so that when you yaw, it doesn't just drift around, whereas I think with just one camera, it probably was a little looser in the yaw. The last external feature we should look at real quickly is the two forward-facing cameras, kind of like a multi-V. That is obstacle avoidance for about 120-degree field of view facing forward. The forward-facing obstacle avoidance will only avoid it running into something it's facing. That means you can still back up backwards into a building if you're going backwards doing a video shot. So make sure you keep that in mind. However, the advantage is if you've flown way out where you maybe can't even see this aircraft, and if you press the return to home, the aircraft is going to face the direction it's moving and it will have the obstacle avoidance. So on the way home, it's not going to accidentally fly into a tree. And frankly, a lot of people have done that by accident. So that's a very clever move. I'm working on a couple other videos about the aircraft, because there is so many details in this aircraft that we frankly will not be done with that anytime soon. So make sure to come back for those videos. You really cannot appreciate this controller without looking at a regular DJI controller. This is what's being used on the P4 and also on my Inspire 1. Guys, look at this. I mean, this thing is almost as wide as this thing is thick. Here's the sticks. And here is the holder for the iPad, but it's down here. So let's crack it open. Here it is. The first thing you do is you crack these two out and you kind of get a little support here. Up on top here, you can get a finger under these antennas. You pull those out and you want to have them perfectly vertical. So whatever the angle is that's going to be vertical where you are comfortable flying, that's where you want them. You want them to be parallel, kind of like that, and straight up and down. That's important because we are now starting to talk about equipment that goes several kilometers out there. Make sure you can do this correctly. Do not fold them up, point them down, or have them pointing straight out. They were not intended to work that way. Now, here's one cool thing. You can actually fly the aircraft with just the controller. You don't have to pop your smartphone in here, but you can. Looking down here, this is where the iPhone slides in, or any other smartphone. At the moment I have the iPhone plug installed. That cable then goes up here and goes up on the corner here where it is plugged in. When you charge the controller, you plug the charger cable into this hole. Let me just put this back down, and there you go. The way you install your smartphone is simple. Pull it out a little bit and just literally seat it onto, you can see how it comes out on the back side. Here's the plug. Slide it into the top on the other side and squeeze them down a little bit. And then you can kind of center them as you want. There you go. My phone has been installed, and this is an iPhone 6 Plus, and it has a very comfortable size right now. It kind of, these two sliders here fits in the palm of my hand and helps me hold the aircraft, and I'm a pincher, so I like to hold it like this, but some people like to thumb it and do like this. Here's the power button for the controller. Here is a dial to go through menus. Here's the pause button, so if you get nervous you can press pause and the aircraft is going to stop in the air, and up here is the return to home. Now if you go up here, this is the take still picture button, and over here is take video button. This one is the gimbal up and down button, and here is the exposure change button. Finally, like on the P4 and the Inspire, down in the bottom here we have smart keys that you can assign functions to. Right now I have the standard function on this one that is press to focus whatever is in the center of the picture. Focusing what's in the center of the picture is important, simply because this camera is the first DJI camera with autofocus. So you have to tap on the screen to focus, or use this smart button C1 down here, press it to focus what's in the center of the image, and that way you know your focus. Just kind of aim it out in the far distance, push the button, and now you've got focus at far distance. But if you're working at say 5 meters or less, you may want to focus on that item, press the button and have sharpness on that item and let the background be a little softer. This is my iPad mini, and that fits perfectly. Here is my NVIDIA Shield. It doesn't fit. Let me show you how the mini fits. It just basically comes in here and it comes up and out through these little holes. So that fits in perfectly. But in order to use my NVIDIA for your Android tablet or phone, you can use the micro USB cable that is also supplied. You simply unplug this and replace the cable down here. Now if that doesn't fit, there's actually a USB plug down here. Unfortunately, the two are not active at the same time. So if this one is unplugged, you've got signal here. I wanted to use the NVIDIA tablet because I wanted the HDMI out. That's this port right here, and here's the USB port. Now it doesn't fit. So what I did was I made two little plugs looking exactly like this. So you just basically take this part, you just slide it in. It has about the thickness of my iPhone. And same thing in the other end. Go down here, slide it in. I printed these yesterday, so they could probably be refined a bit more. Here's the ports now, and I just basically just stick the tablet right in here and slide it right up. And there we go. We are now flying with an NVIDIA tablet. As you can see in this video here, it's working perfect. Now, to connect my NVIDIA, I grabbed a little cable, and I'm sure I'm gonna get myself one that has the right size, and just kind of run it right up here, and we're plugged in, we're ready to go. So before we move on, let's power this up really quickly. To do that, we press and then press again and hold, and we are powered up. We got lights, the camera is moving, and it's balancing itself. We're gonna put it down. Now on the screen right here, we have the camera. I'm just gonna tap on it, and here we go. Now we're looking out through the aircraft just like that. So now we've got video here, and we have a moving gimbal. You can see it's kind of working here. We got a ton of features in here that we're gonna be walking through later. Now my main reason for using the NVIDIA is for this HDMI out right here. And here we go. Now we have the video from the flight screen directly in a pair of budget HDMI controllers, which by the way, of course, is available at carolinadrones.com. I think these are about 180, 200-ish. Guys, there's so many features here. I don't even know where to start. What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna make a video where we're just gonna go through the radio here, and then we're gonna go out and fly it. You can hear the sound from the fan already. And that's probably really because of the processors down in the bottom here. This thing gets really hot. These ribs here actually gets quite hot after just a bit of use. There's a lot of heat going on inside here. The real question here is where is this compared to? We know it's not an Inspire. However, I gotta tell you, it's only this much shy of the video quality of a P4. Earlier this year, I did some testing and I found that the X-Star Premium actually had an edge on the DJI Phantom 4 in video quality. So I did a quick video this morning. And here you can see there's some close leaves and some far away leaves. Zooming in to the far away leaves, we can really see that there's a little bit more mudding and compression going on. So this is 400%. You can see the compression difference in the leaves right here. But honestly, the real question is, I don't think it matters, because the quality of this is probably very identical to a P3 in terms of video quality. If you would have been perfectly comfortable and happy traveling with a Phantom P3 Pro, this here is probably gonna make you super happy. Mostly because it fits in your typical camera wrap case. So let's wrap this up and put it away like that. This leg comes in here, down there, and then these two on top comes in like that. You can see the brand, the MAVIC Pro. And here's one of my DSLR padded cases, and sliding it down here, you will see it's down there with lots of space to spare. It's basically only taking up about half of this thing. Now, before I unboxed this today, I've already flown 3 batteries with this, and then I put it all back in the box so I could take it out and show you guys how it came. But I flew the 3 batteries because I wanted to make sure I was not bullshitting you. It is incredibly stable. It's super stable when flying, and it produces very good, solid video. I am comfortable saying that for $750, this is a great smartphone aircraft. And if you pay the extra $1,000 or the $1,300 for the package with all the batteries, you're not gonna regret. I am convinced you're gonna be liking this aircraft. So stay tuned, and we're gonna go through the radio, and we're also gonna go through actually flying it and talking about how it's working. That will be an upcoming video, so make sure you click subscribe and stay tuned. And also make sure you check out carolinadrones.com. He has these things up on the website already. Make sure you check out the packages and shoot him a question if you've got any questions about the packages on carolinadrones.com.